All right, we're going to walk through adding a Forefront phone number to your account. Now, with these phone numbers, you can use them for marketing. You can send out text messages to leads within your Forefront account, things like that. And if you're using it for your marketing, you're doing direct mail or something like that, you can put that phone number in the direct mail and set it to where it's attached to a campaign. So a new lead that comes in, a new call that comes into that phone number, Forefront can create a new lead for it and attribute it to that campaign. So how cool is that? I'm going to walk you through finding a number, getting it set up so that you can use it inside of Forefront. There's a lot of power in these numbers, and so it's really cool. I can't wait to show it to you. All right, in your side of your Forefront account, under settings, we have phone settings. That's where I'm at now. All right, so before I click on get a number to get a new phone number, I want to make sure that we set up an answering sequence, because you've got to have a way for Forefront to know if a call comes into that number, what should it do with it? So you need to set up an answering sequence. And you click add answering sequence. I'm just going to say new sequence here just for sake of speed. Record incoming calls. If you want to have those calls come in, be recorded, which I always recommend, you want to go ahead and check that to be true. Some places you need consent from both parties, and I'm going to show you how to make sure that you're set up and good for that. So I'm going to go ahead and create this answering sequence, and it shows right here. I'm going to go ahead and click manage so that we can add some steps for Forefront to do when a phone number or a phone call comes in to that number. So I'm going to click new step. And the first thing I'm going to do is play a message to the caller. So when somebody calls that number, I want them to hear a message before it dials out. And I'm just going to use the text to speech feature here and just use the default message that's already here. This call will be recorded for quality assurance. It's professional, but it also makes sure that you have consent from them because they know it's being recorded, right? So it kind of covers you there. All right. And then you can alternatively upload a MP3 file into Forefront to play if you want to use that. The voices for the text to speech are actually really nice. It says robot-like voice, but it's a pleasant voice. It's not weird. You can try it and see for yourself. I actually kind of prefer that. So it's easy because you can type whatever you want and have it spoken in a very clear way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create this step. So now when a call comes in, they're going to get that message. This call will be recorded for quality purposes. The next step, I want to have a dial. So I'm going to forward that call to a phone number. All right. So I'm going to have it go to this phone number. I'm going to keep the ring to 30 seconds or less. I prefer usually between 20 and 30 seconds because I don't want it going long enough to go to my cell phone voicemail, right? I want the call to, if it doesn't get picked up in that amount of time, to go to the voicemail within Forefront. All right, so I'm going to click create. So now it's going to play that message to them. Then it's going to ring this phone number to transfer that call so we can actually answer it to a cell phone. And then if that doesn't get picked up, I want the last step to be a voicemail. Thank you for calling. Please leave a message. Obviously, you should change this to say your company name. We appreciate you calling, and we'll get back to you right away or something along those lines. So create. So it says all steps after that one will be ignored because the voicemail, obviously, once you do the voicemail, it should be done. There shouldn't be any other steps afterwards. So now we got our call sequence. This is new sequence. And I'm going to go ahead and click save just to be sure and then close this out. So now I've got my answering sequence. That's important to have. Now we can get our phone number. So I'm going to get the phone number, put in an area code. I'm in San Antonio, so that's 210. Click get numbers. And it's going to give me a bunch of options for available numbers. Now, if you don't see any available numbers, that's because these numbers a lot of times get leased and then they get returned to the pool. And, you know, just for the sake of phone numbers in general, that's not something Forefront does, but it's the phone systems, right? Where the phone numbers are being managed. And so if you don't see any, check back in a couple hours, check back the next day. Eventually there will be more numbers available there and you'll be able to do that. If not, you can use a different area code, but looks like today we've got plenty of these here to choose from. And once you get one of these numbers and set it up in your account, that number is now leased by you. It's now controlled by you. If you ever want to get that number into another phone system, you can have that number ported Alternatively, you could also bring a number that you already own in CallRail or some other system into Forefront and then use that through Forefront. So if you're already using one for marketing, you can likely get that ported into our system. If you want to do that, then reach out to support@forefrontcrm.com and we'll help you get that ported into Forefront. But I'm going to just choose this first number here. I'm going to check the spam risk because I want to make sure that this number isn't going to be sent directly to voicemail or marked as spam by the different carriers, because that's what can happen if a phone number was used for spamming before. So this one has a low risk, no user reports, United States number. I'm going to go with it. I'm just going to say new number for the sake of, well, let's do bandit signs. I want to have a number I'm going to put on my bandit signs. And now, since we already set up that answering sequence, I'm going to choose it, new sequence. And when a call comes in that creates a lead, I want the lead to be defaulted to analysis needed. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make it first contact needed just in case the call wasn't picked up, to ensure somebody does do that. So any new lead that comes in from a new call that's not inside of my Forefront account, it's going to create a lead and put it in the status of first contact needed. And I'm going to default to recording outbound calls from this number so that I can do quality assurance and see how those things are going for any calls made out of the system to a seller using that number. So let's click get number. And now we've got that number. It says phone number bought. So let me refresh this page here. And it's going to show now that I've got 5 numbers used. And here's my new number, the bandit signs number here. If I expand, I can see nothing's been sent in or out of it yet because I just got it. It's brand spanking new. I'm going to show you the options you have with this. Okay, but before I do that, I'm going to go to my campaigns, make sure I have a bandit signs campaign. And the units label is just basically if you want to put how many you put out at a specific time, you can use that. So if I'm keeping track of how many I put out when, it's going to say I put out 5 signs, right? Because the sign is the units label. And then the phone number, I can go ahead and attach it to the phone number right here and use my bandit signs phone number that we just created, okay? So now if a phone call comes in through that phone number, it's going to assign that lead to the bandit sign campaign automatically so that you're tracking which leads came from where. How cool is that? Let's go back over to phone settings. You can now see that the bandit signs phone number is going to create new leads, yes, and assign that lead to the bandit sign campaign, okay? But let's go in and click manage. And I want to walk you through some of these options here. All right, of course, we already talked about recording outbound calls. That way, if your team's using it or you're using it to call the seller from Forefront, you can get those calls recorded and listen to them later. It's going to create a lead. If I didn't want the phone number to create a lead, I just turn this off. And that's usually used for like business numbers or something that you're using to where, if somebody calls you that's, like a plumber or something, you don't want it creating a lead, right? So you can turn that off if you don't want it to default to creating leads. The inbound caller ID setting. Okay, so this is when a call is coming into this number and it's being forwarded to my cell phone. What number do I want to see on my cell phone? Do I want to see the phone number of the person that's calling me, or do I want to see the Forefront phone number? All right. Some of our customers like having the Forefront number show up because then they know, hey, this is a call coming in from one of my Forefront, one of my marketing numbers, right? Instead of, it could be a call from a friend, right? So that option is there for you if you want to not really know who it's coming from other than it's coming from that person, or if you want to know it's coming from one of your marketing numbers, you can do that. Inbound answering sequence, we already set that there. Message heard by user that answers the inbound call from this number. So if you're getting a call coming in and it forwards to your cell phone and you answer that, if you want to have a message play for just you, you can set it here. So what I'm going to do is say call from bandit signs number, right? That way, whenever I answer that call, I know, hey, this is somebody calling off my bandit signs, right? How cool is that you can have that play just for you? Message contact will hear when you call them from this number. All right. So this is when you're, making outbound calls, right? You might need to let them know message will be recorded for quality purposes, right? Or something like that, right? So if you're making a call from Forefront using this number to call a seller, you might want to let them know that by having that message play for them as soon as they pick up. We've already set the default campaign. If I want to assign a user to any lead that comes in from this number, I can do that automatically here as well. So I'm going to have myself handle any of the leads coming in for my bandit sign phone number. And we've already set the default status. You can edit that here. And then temperature for new leads. Typically, bandit sign leads are pretty warm to hot. So I'm going to go ahead and say hot as a default temperature for any new lead that comes in from my bandit signs. All right, so I'm going to click save. And now I've got this phone number completely set up. I've got the answering sequence to handle when calls are coming in. They're going to hear a message about the call being recorded. It's going to forward to my cell phone so I can answer it no matter where I'm at. And then if I don't pick it up, it's going to go to the voicemail box that we set up here in Forefront for that number. And any new leads that come in will get created. Any new calls will create a lead that will be in your inbox over here under new leads. Okay. And so that's all set up. And now if I go to a lead, I can actually go to make a call and I can actually choose that phone number to call from if I wanted to. Okay. So how cool is that? That's how you set up a phone number inside of Forefront. Hope you guys answered any questions you have about setting up that phone number for your Forefront account to use for your marketing, to keep track of all that. I encourage you to get a phone number for each of the different campaigns that you do so that all campaign tracking is automatically done when new calls come in from that number, or even a new text comes in from that number that's from a number that's not known inside of your Forefront account. Now, if you will get a call or a text from a number that is in your account already, because you already have a lead from that person, where that will come in will be in the inbox, but instead of new leads, it'll be in the responses. Okay. So if you miss a call from someone that's already a lead, that'll be in the responses tab of your inbox. So in this way, we help ensure with our Forefront numbers that no leads ever slip through the cracks with Forefront. And that's how you can do more deals with less leads. All right. Hope you enjoyed this message and talk to you next time.